Hello, my dear friends. Hope you all are doing hearty and healthy. Welcome back to my channel. We are finally on our prompt number 4, that is mountains, for our YouTube challenge. So let's get started. For today's prompt, we are going to paint something similar to this, but not exactly the same, but we will be replicating the sky. So let's see. I am here doing the pencil sketch. I am here doing a little bit of pasture land, or you could say a field in the foreground, and behind will be a mountain. So I am here creating a horizon line. Now in between the pasture land and the mountains will be the lake flowing. So here I am doing the mountain ranges. It's a very simple one, not very complicated. So the pencil sketch, you could just follow along as I am creating these outlines. Let's begin by layering a fresh coat of water onto our surface to create a sky. You can see I'm here using a quill mop brush, and with its pointed tip I'm just going around the outline of the mountain, since I don't want the outlined mountain to get wet. I have swatched out the colors already, so these are the colors that we are going to be using. Now going ahead with the sky, first I am taking my yellow deep, which is a shade closer to that of cadmium orange. You could use any cadmium orange or mix a little bit of red and yellow to get a color similar to this color. I am going here and creating shape of clouds with the help of my mop brush. Please bear in mind that you need to be literally fast in doing this, because you have to blend in the colors when your paper is still wet. If your paper is drying out quickly, then you might develop some very hard edges to the clouds, which will really spoil the look of the painting. Now I have mixed my Indrathrone blue with little bit that of a Payne's grey, or you could mix a little bit of indigo to create a color closer to this, and I'm trying to create that depth in the clouds by adding some darker values. It is just the play of the light and shadows basically in the sky, even in the clouds, because you would have noticed that the clouds also have some lighter part and a darker part. I think the very same thing even we have practiced for our the very first prom when we did a sunset sky. So I hope you are very clear with this concept now. Since I want my sky to look little bright, so I'm adding here a little bit of cerulean blue. Now instead of cerulean blue, you could choose any other bright blue color that you have with you, and I'm going and layering this color on top of the other colors so that it still mixes well, since my paper is still wet. And we are done with our sky. Starting with our mountains, I'm going ahead with the concentrated burnt sienna on the topmost part, and then on the bottom part I will be going ahead and filling it with burnt umber and mixed it a little bit of Payne's grey, or you could use a little bit of black to create a shade closer to this. Now why I'm doing this, because the top part of the mountain is where the light gets reflected, not exactly reflected, where the light falls. So that place would obviously be little lighter in color than the bottom area where the light does not reach. So this is a common play of light and shadow. So that is why I am using darker tones for my bottom part of my mountains. Now the mountains that are there in the background, this is going to be snow-capped mountains. So here, as you can see, I have just loaded my brush with the paint, and I'll be going ahead and doing brush dry brush technique out here to create that snow-capped mountain. So I will be going ahead and adding some lines in just one direction and then gradually layering the color on the paper so that I get the dry brush effect. So make sure that your brush is completely dry. Dab it on a tissue paper or a towel that you have, and your paint should also not have too much of water, otherwise you will not get the exact dry brush pattern that you intend to get. So this is how we are going to cover the rest of the mountains. Keep watching. So when you are doing this dry brush strokes to create that effect on the mountains, make sure that you go in just one direction. If you go in too many directions like here and there, it might not give a finished look to the mountain. So just stick to one direction that you want your brush to sway, and then just go on creating the way like that here I'm showing. So you will have your mountains ready. Now comes the leg. I am here using turquoise blue. You could use any brighter looking blue, or you could just replicate the sky in the water too, but since I did not want to overly complicate the painting, so I'm keeping it simple by doing the lake in just one single tone of color. So you could use to create this turquoise blue color, you could mix your cerulean blue with a little bit of that of lemon yellow to get a color closer to this. I would say not exactly this color, but you would get a little bit closer to this color. So you could try this technique out and see if you can get this turquoise shade. Now I'm going ahead and doing that pasture land since it is near to the shore, so I'm using various tonal values of green. First I went with sap green and then used the dark green for the edges, and now I'm creating some textures by adding a dash of brown to indicate rocks and pebbles, and that's it. I'm not very happy with the look of the snow-capped mountain, so I'm going ahead and adding a little bit of white gouache with dry brush technique so that it looks much more prominent and vivid. So just go ahead and dab in some white gouache on those ranges. Now it's time to remove our masking tape. Peel it at an angle so that you do not rip out your painted areas. Now do the step when your painting has completely dried. I stress this at the end of each and every painting because I do not want you to rip out your painted areas because you have worked so hard to finish this painting. So yeah, we are done, and I have added in that quote. Use a hashtag to post the artwork on social media like Instagram, and yes, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Bye.